Welcome to part 4 of the webinar series. This part of the webinar will supplement the instructions for using the data tracking system, specifically for entering the data and generating reports. The slides used in this presentation are available at www.pennstatehershey.org/prowellness/grants. My name is Alicia Shuick, and I am the School Outreach Specialist for the mini-grant collaboration between the Penn State Hershey Pro Wellness Center and the Pennsylvania Department of Health. If you have questions about the material covered in this webinar, please contact me at grantmanager@phs.psu.edu or at 717-531-1440 extension 7. I'd like to remind you that while you are required to complete the walkability checklist, it is not entered in the data tracking system. The checklist should be completed and emailed to grantmanager@phs.psu.edu. After each round of data collection, you have two options for data entry. Personnel at your school or community partners can manually enter the data collected from the student travel tallies and the parent surveys, or you can mail all of the data collected to the National Center for Safe Routes to School, where they will enter the data in your data system. The latter option requires 4 to 6 weeks processing time. The next series of slides will show you how to manually enter your data. After you have added 3 time periods for the student travel tally and the parent survey, and you have collected data, you will enter it in the data tracking system. Please select Enter New Data or View Existing from the navigation pane. Select Add New Tally or Add New Survey from this screen. Note that only schools who choose to do the paper-based surveying option will select the option to add a new parent survey. This is an example of the online data entry screen for the student travel tally. You will enter one of these for each classroom survey during each time period. For schools who choose the paper-based surveying option, this is the example of the data entry screen for the parent survey. This is the bottom half of the data entry screen for the parent survey. One survey should be entered in the data system for each paper survey returned to the school. Regardless of whether the parent survey data is manually entered, as in the case for the paper-based survey, or automatically deposited, as is the case for the web-based survey, all completed parent surveys can be viewed by selecting Enter New Data or View Existing from the navigation pane. The next series of slides will show you how to prepare your data for entry by the National Center for Safe Routes to School. After you have added 3 time periods for student travel tally and the parent survey, and you have collected data, you can mail your data to the National Center for Safe Routes to School for data entry. Select Mail Data to National Center on the navigation pane. Select your school from the drop-down menu in the center of the page. When your school has been selected, your screen will appear like this, with the student travel tally time periods and the parent survey time periods on the screen. Select the checkboxes to the left of the student travel tally and parent survey time periods you would like to mail for data entry. When any checkboxes have been selected, the Print Selected Records to Mail button will become active. Please select this button. PDF will be generated in a new window and will include one page for each survey or tally. Please save this document. These cover sheets are specific to each time period for each parent survey or travel tally. The instructions for mailing are on each page of the cover sheet. The next series of slides will show you how to prepare your reports. Reports are generated using the data tracking system. All reports should be emailed to grantmanager@phs.psu.edu. For the travel tally, the April report should be one school at one time period. The May report should be one school comparing 2 time periods. Use the April and May time periods to generate this report. The November report should be one school comparing 2 time periods. Use the April and November time periods to generate this report. For the parent survey, the April, May, and November reports should be one school at one time period. Reports can be generated by selecting Reports from the navigation pane. As outlined on the previous slide, the one school at one time period tally report should be used in April, with the one school comparing two time periods report used in May and November. The one school at one time report should be used for all of the parent survey reporting. This is an example of the screen you will see when generating the travel tally report in the one school and one time period way. It looks the same when generating the parent survey report. This is an example of the screen you will see when generating the travel tally report comparing two time periods. This is an example of what a tally report will look like. More examples can be found by selecting the link on the Data Systems login page. Please send all data system generated reports and the walkability checklist to grant manager at phs.psu.edu. If you mailed your data for entry by the National Center and it has not been entered by the time the reports are due, you can submit a copy of the cover sheet along with the date that you mailed the data and generated your reports when the data entry has been completed. Please also send any temporary cover sheets to grant manager at phs.psu.edu. You have reached the end of webinar part 4 and the end of this webinar series. We hope that this webinar series has been helpful. If you have questions about entering data, generating reports, or your responsibilities as a grant recipient, please call me at 717-531-1440 extension 7 or email grantmanager@phs.psu.edu. The National Center for Safe Routes to School is also available to answer questions about the data system at 1-866-610-SRTS.